always wanted to do that, to have an opening shot with me drinking my chicory out of this beautiful um, Loam and Law. No idea, but they are on Amazon brand something. Anyway, I just love it. It's such a natural feel and color as well. And anyway, so I've done that. I'm not checking what it looks like. It will do. But what I wanted to share today is a few things. So last few days, well, in fact, that's what I've been doing this morning, tracing back where it started to then pinpoint sort of astrological potential influences. They don't always, well, I mean, I'll live astrologically, so I will always find that those are my hooks, those are my crutches, if you like. Astrology is, but sometimes it's like a bang, like, whoa, that's exactly what happened, and it was that transit or whatever. But other times it's more subtle and it's a leading up to the transit as well. And but I do live astrologically, and it's to do with the moon, if nothing else, or the phases of the moon, even if nothing is aspecting in my chart as well, and all the rest. So anyway, so I was tracing back, and all my diaries, journals are always, well, dated, obviously, as in I date them, but also I often either retrospectively when I revisit them, or at a time put down the transits that I think are what's happening for me or to me. So I was doing that this morning because I woke up happier, like really energized and sort of positive, more than I have for a long time now. By a long time, I mean a week. Where are we now? Maybe 2 weeks even. In terms of my productivity, but also overall, kind of heaviness and just like listlessness, and I just can't be asked to do anything. But this morning I was sparked, and I think it may have been last night. I was watching something on YouTube, and they mentioned this frequency 396 hertz, which is all about guilt and shame releasing. And I'm a Pluto in Virgo generation, and that is just, we are the harbingers of those horrible, horrible feelings. And we either reinforce them because that's what we have been conditioned and we have experienced over and over again, billions of lifetimes, or few lifetimes, or many lifetimes. And or ideally we want to purge all that stuff. So my goal is to purge it. So anyway, so that's like a big theme for me anyway. And also the moment, this whole guilt and maybe shame not so much, but guilt definitely, like, why can't I just do this? I'm so bad and I'm not able to be productive even when I really don't feel like it. Why have I lost motivation for things that I said I loved minutes ago or weeks ago or a year ago, whatever? And all that sort of guilt tripping myself, right? So I was like, oh my God, perfect. So it was, and I'm a 369 in numerology. Or this is 396, but it's still the 3 digits. So that was another kind of synchronicity that I read as a symbolic and meaningful. And then, yeah, so I fell asleep. Well, I don't know if I fell asleep, but I certainly listened to it. Or maybe I even have. I can't remember that. But anyway, so I had it by my pillow, and that frequency, and it's a frequency. It's just like, I don't think it's music. I plan to listen to it later today as I walk on go my woods walk. We must be that. I really, because, yeah, astrologically, against, I'm still in that vice as in, like a pressure point, like a, squeezing point, right? I'm still in that till later today. Well, and then, yeah, anyway. So, and last night, so that's how it feels. But also so beautifully, I had a unique dream, which is far too personal to share ever with anyone. Well, anyone here publicly. And it was absolutely staggeringly, like, I wanted that in my life for forever, and I never got it. And my dreams around this theme were always actually pretty horrible, like so horrible. And there was a lot of shame and guilt and pain and, betrayal and whatever else, sense of that kind of stuff. And this dream, I mean, it was just, I can't believe I had it. It's like never. I mean, and I'm 51, well, next May 52. Anyway, And it was like, oh my God. So I reckon there's something, and it, like I say, it has to do with guilt and shame, definitely shame. And and it's that frequency has done something to me that I dreamt this. And if this is a possibility, which I kind of knew it will be anyway, and it was, I can feel it coming on for a couple of years now. It's still probably in the future. It's not now. It's not there yet. This dream will come true. I have no doubt, and it's just, oh my God, it just makes me so happy. So anyway, so that was that. Anyway, so I suppose part of all this, the frequency and then the dream, I woke up far happier than I have been in quite a while now. So I was more, so typically in those down days, I would be more passive, and I would be either, I'll be watching things, and I would kind of now genuinely am more into watching things that are inspiring, even though I'm passive and low in my mood and listless. And sometimes I would binge watch stuff, but it's, I don't, I usually watch things that are, well, they're not always like high quality or whatever, and that's all relative, isn't it? It's a personal, whatever high quality is. But yeah, something that is kind of would get me thinking is what I mean. It's not just like to numb myself, not that, but it certainly is to avoid those down. It's avoidance, but it's like I kind of at least address it up for myself, explain it. It's still doing some good, and it's still helping me do the work, but it's kind of at the back door. So I'm still working, doing my inner work. I'm you know analyzing. I'm doing my shadow work, whatever, but not kind of head on, more subtly and more through, like I said, other doors. So that's what I was doing for a good 2 weeks. Did hardly any. I did have moments when I did was productive towards these two things. I said I have like same deadline, and they're overlapping in topics, so I could be kind of, one for the two for the price of one or whatever. And yeah, so I was like, wow, this morning is just, yeah. I just, like I say, felt wow, so different, and was actively now looking back and trying to understand what was going on, and all kinds of other synchronicities that I have had, kind of seen or experienced since this morning, and are pointing towards a change, and a change in direction, which is partly why this demotivation was probably happening. Even though I still think and feel I will do these to meet these two deadlines and meet all the deadlines that I've put for myself till the end of October. And I think I will. I think I will. I think I will want to, is what I mean. Not that I will force myself, but I think it will come to me. I will be motivated again to do that, is what I mean. And but the piece there that was so amazing, is, looking at the time, I can see it 8 minutes. That was so amazing to me is this: I gave myself permission as I was reading my diaries, my journals, like I say, those weeks ago when it all started, and to give myself permission to just not, just to trust that this trough, this dip in motivation and lacklusterness, well, that I'm feeling, is there for a reason, and to just ride it. And that's essentially, again, almost 9 minutes in. The point I want to make in this video is the key to getting the most out of those lackluster days when you feel demotivated is to honor them, but not to numb yourself. So hence all these like distractions I mentioned. I do, like, even if it's Netflix, I choose something, and it's always like, I've been watching recently something. Yeah, it's always about some relationship, and this is about friendships, and that's a big theme, as you may know, on this channel for me. And it still gets me thinking about these things. So it's not, like I say, it's not brain dead. It's not like just making me zomb out, like a zombie. So it's okay to kind of distract yourself a little bit, to just make the time easier on yourself, but be active, even if it's on a subconscious level, meaning even if it's more subtle. If it's on a subconscious level, you don't know what's going on, but still it will be going on, and it will eventually emerge. And just ride that trough, that low wave. And I know this is a common advice you'll see and hear on YouTube and anywhere else really regularly nowadays. I suppose I have experienced it today, and it's relevant for my journey. And it's kind of nice when you experience that, something that actually is recognized as a thing. And that does tie in with my last video, where there are times when what is considered the right model for someone, I more often than not find that it doesn't work for me, but I kind of go through it anyway, and often give up or stop because it just doesn't do it for me. But this time around, I'm sticking. And actually, on that topic, I realize I have only 30 days. No, I do have 40 days. And it's not little, but I will be sticking with this thing till the end, absolutely. Well, I'm not promising, but it felt yesterday like that. Like, yeah, it will actually be. I would like to do that. So back to the trough and how it's actually really great to give yourself permission to just like sink into that non-activity and depression even of sorts, and but keep feeling, keep listening to what's coming up. And I couldn't even journal. I mean, in the last week, because it was getting the heaviest, really. In the last week, it was getting the heaviest. Up until that point, I did, which is what helped me to kind of retrace some steps. And, as it starts to build up this kind of trough phase, I tend to be actually quite active then, journaling wise. And yeah, and so that kind of tracing those steps back on the day I felt that I was coming out of that listlessness and trough, was really useful. So, but even the piece or the period that I wasn't journaling, which is like I say a week. I mean, I did bits and bobs, but it's not deep as I can usually do. I still know, because it was an intense week in my life, and for the heavy reasons, for the darker reasons. And so it's not like I forgot. So probably today when I journal, I will be wrapping it all up. And yeah, and I felt great, just like giving myself permission that that's okay to be here, and to change, and to maybe completely change course at the end of this, because that's what this experience showed me. And just felt fantastic. So on that note, I will end the video as well with my cup of chicory, and I will see you tomorrow.